This is Twisted Passages with award-winning author Marie Sutro. Now, let's take a deep dive into the dark world of psychological thrillers and meet the authors who created them.
Hello, and welcome to Twisted Passages. I'm your host, Marie Sutro, and today we have best-selling author Jamie Day here to talk about his new release, The Lake Escape. Welcome, Jamie.
Well, thank you, Marie. Thank you for having me. I am delighted to be here.
I am beyond delighted that you are here. Your last few books have just been absolutely amazing, and I couldn't wait to sink my teeth into this and was not disappointed. But before I gush on your story, can you start listeners off with an overview of what The Lake Escape is about?
Sure. Lake Escape is, the books I write they're what I would call summertime suspense. So I try to find a summer theme and bring in a kind of a community cast. So Lake Escape is about 3 families that have vacationed on the same lake every year since they were children. And they're coming back for their annual lake getaway. But this year, everything is different. One of the characters, a gentleman named David, has torn down his modest cottage and erected a glass monstrosity that blocks the view of his neighbors. And you would expect massive outrage, but only one of the neighbors is truly outraged. And on top of it, there seems to be other issues with the daughter and the son of two of the families there. So these people all gather at the lake for what should be a fun summer, but there's already something awry. And we add into it a mysterious nanny who has joined for the first time. And she may have arrived at the lake with an agenda of her own. And this is all wrapped around this mysterious lake lore that has carried on at Lake Timony in Vermont. Lake Timony, I made up. The lake lore goes essentially that every 30 years, somebody from that lake vanishes without a trace. And it had been 30 years since the last disappearance. And wouldn't you know, somebody disappears from this group. It kind of is the unraveling of these friends and their secrets and betrayals and how the lake lore ties into it and who is this nanny and all these kind of questions are asked. And then through the course of the Lake Escape, everything is revealed, and hopefully with some pretty surprising twists along the way.
That lake lore takes you back to being a kid, right? You can almost smell the s'mores, hear the fire cracking as someone's telling you every 30 years someone disappears.
Oh, and you know what? And you had the rhyme. I actually never even did that rhyme. I love that. Yes, every 30 years someone disappears. Before we started recording, I mentioned my partner, Kathleen. She's my partner in life, and she happens to be an amazing reader, a great writer, a brilliant mind for stories. She's an oil painter, so she's super creative. And so she and I get to collaborate on the books and talk through the plots and talk through the characters. And it was Kathleen who actually had the idea that the lake should have a lore attached to it. And I loved that idea. And so we went right with it. And I think it added a whole dimension to the story that really gives it an eerie vibe.
There is something simmering just beneath the surface. Like you said, there's, this question of what's going on with the kids, what's going on with the old mysteries. Why are some people responding to the new home? Because if I came home and somebody blocked my lake view, I'd have something to say about it.
You murdered them, maybe. I mean, she definitely was having murderous thoughts when she got there. And so, and that's really the fun part of writing these kinds of books. Really, we're trying to play with expectations all the time. So that's part of the joy, is looking for a way to take something that you expect and then how do I twist it this way, but then how do I twist it in a way you wouldn't expect me to twist it? And I ask myself, what would a reader be thinking at this moment? What do I want to share at this time? And sometimes it actually is really important to set up a question and answer it relatively quickly, but then you also have to have those questions that linger. That's one of the areas where, I really benefit from having a partner, Kathleen, who is, again, I bring into the writing process, because she and I really talk through the interpersonal dynamics. Kathleen also has a background as a mental health counselor, so she has an incredible encyclopedia of human behavior that we can draw from. And so the crafting of the characters is really one of the most fundamentally important parts of the writing. You think it's the words, but really, if you don't have the emotional connection and the emotional core of the characters defined, plus their interpersonal conflicts clearly identified.
That's so nice, because as an author, these characters are living and breathing in your head during the entire drafting of the manuscript. To have a partner in crime, literally in the writing of the crime and the mystery, has got to be so rewarding and so enriching, and probably makes it move faster, because things you might be looking up, she's just like
free form, bouncing ideas off each other. That's how I work best anyway. I'm an extremely collaborative person, and there are people, writers who are they probably couldn't work the way that I work, and that's to each their own. And I just happen to have my process. I've always been comfortable in that realm of saying, well, if you have a better idea, I want to hear it, because my goal is to give the reader the best book possible, as high quality as I can possibly deliver. And so I feel very fortunate that I have this incredible resource. That ultimately is what determines an author's success, I believe, is how much does the author care. And if the author really truly cares, and it's coming from this place of a desire to deliver value to the reader, it's going to show up in the story. And that's where the readers will come back and say, hey, thank you for that.
But it is so cool. And putting people in a situation where, like you said, they're on vacation, they have these long-term relationships. This should be the most comfortable setting in the world. And somehow you flip that completely on its ear.
You'll like this. I think you'll like this answer, Marie, because I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. And I'm going to do a little bit of a reveal. So the first reveal is Jamie is actually technically is my middle name. I'm James. My first name is Daniel. My last name is Palmer. So Day is a pen name. And I'm fine to share that. That's not a secret. It's out there in other places. I've had a long writing career. I started off writing books that were really like ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances, a little bit on the Harlan Coben side. And my father was a gentleman named Michael Palmer, who was a very big bestseller in the 1980s, 90s, early 2000s even. Had a pretty remarkable career, a movie, Extreme Measures, with Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman. And he passed away actually this month. I think it's 12 years ago, maybe 12. And after he died, his publisher asked if I would write his books. So I wrote a series of medical suspense novels, really as, kind of a Michael Palmer with tiny type Daniel Palmer. But it was a great honor to keep his tradition alive. And I evolved from that into writing books under the name DJ Palmer. So it's like I have this pretty wild evolution as a writer. And the DJ Palmer books were family dramas. So less about the ordinary person and more about the family. And it was my brilliant editor, Jen Enderlin, who also edits Kristen Hanna. So I'm like, and some other like superstars. So I feel super fortunate. I have this amazing group of women. Kathleen is one. My mom is another supporter. Jen, my editor, is incredible. My two agents, Meg and Rebecca, also incredible. So I'm surrounded by powerful women who really helped shape and guide my career. I couldn't be more grateful. And it was my idea to switch from family drama to these more community-driven suspense novels. And I was really trying to blend Leanne Moriarty with what I was doing and Sally Hepworth as well, who was another author in the St. Martin's camp along with me. So I was really interested in blending that, just trying to bring some lightness and humor to the drama. And my thought was, after what we went through in the pandemic, we all just needed a little break from the intensity of the psychological thriller. My last DJ Palmer psychological thriller, a book called My Wife is Missing. It's a really fun book. Like, you would love that. I think you'd really enjoy that, but it's pretty intense. It doesn't let up. And so I wanted some moments of breathing, some moments of levity, and a chance to bring my personality a little bit more to the page with my authentic voice, like I do in these books. So I thought of this milieu and this kind of style change and decided, you know, this should be a rebrand of who I am. And you know, I'm writing as Jamie Day now. And it was really Jen, my editor, who shaped kind of the direction of where we're headed in this Adirondack chair with menace concept. And she's like, let's really set them in a summertime theme. Let's really build off of that notion. So it's the fun, light with suspense in the summer. And that's how we ended up with Adirondack chairs with menace. So that was a long answer to explain, to answer your question, but hopefully it was an informative answer. I gave you a lot of details there.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm sure listeners will appreciate it, because what I love about it is your writing career starts out with your first name. And then as you mature into it and connect with it better, you find your authentic self in your middle name, in the middle part of you. So
yeah, and in the middle part of life, you know, you probably can't tell that I'm in the middle part of life because of this incredible lighting effect that I have. But yeah, no, I'm old.
Well, you know, it's that I think, at least I found in my life and seen it with a lot of close friends and family, that we tend to find our more authentic voices. Fear goes away. A lot of things start to ebb as we've gotten some miles under the hood, and we start to double down and be okay with who we are inside.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think I just really enjoy owning my more authentic voice, owning my process, owning the name, owning why I'm doing this. I'm super comfortable, and I love the fact that I can bring some humor. You know, I used to do book talks, and I would get up there and just crack a joke after joke after joke. It just kind of my nature. And then people would get the book and come back to another book talk angry, going, where was the joke? There was nothing funny in this book. It was terrible. All these horrible things happened to these nice people. I wanted to laugh. And so now I feel like we can do that a lot more with the Jamie books, and I'm having a blast. It's the most fun I've had writing. So I'm hoping that's showing up on the page.
One of the last things I wanted to ask you about, there was a line in the book that I actually wrote down, and it really, really struck me, and I'm going to paraphrase, so I apologize if it's not exact. But one of the characters says to another, "People don't look for the dead like they do for the living."
Oh, yeah.
And there is, you know, you give us some stats on, you know, missing people in the United States, missing people in the state where this is set. And there's references to it. And I just wanted to dig a little deeper with you on that line. Where did that come from? Was there research around that kind of stuck with you a little bit?
Even today in the Boston Globe, there's a headline about the 600 people. I don't know if it's annual or if it's total. It may actually be annual, who have vanished from foster care in Massachusetts. In Mass, just one state. So I'm always, and you know, I'm always fascinated. You know, what makes people want to read as well is a story of hope. People like hope. They just like to have this belief that there's going to be resolution. We all go through so many hard things. Everyone has their challenges, except for my dog. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Zero challenges right there.
Okay, so I just have to tell listeners, you're going to have to go to the video version on YouTube right after you listen, if you're listening only on the podcast, because it's Monty, right?
Monty the dog, Monty the challengeless dog, although he creates challenges for everybody else, but his life is without challenge. So and it was, you know, Harlan Coben, he's one of my writing idols. I have many writing idols. Harlan is one. He's going to be the Lifetime Thriller Award winner at Thriller Fest this year. So I'm just excited to go and see him and honor him. But Harlan always talks about hope as a key concept in kind of the narrative driving of his stories. And so, you know, it is how it goes. People want hope, and so they look for hope. So if you're missing, if you're out there, if there's that hope that you're going to be found, and the number of missing is staggering. And so so I think it creates that tension of you know, is there going to be a resolution here, and people want that. And so it is a good kind of thing to infuse into all your books. I always want to focus on the hope, not the bleakness. Even if the story and the setting and the setup is pretty dire, there always has to be a ray.
And the one last thing I will say that I appreciated so much was you really wrapped the story. You didn't just go dark on us and leave us with a million questions. You put a beautiful bow on it. And I want to thank you for that, because we really, you gave us all the loose threads and you tied them all away perfectly. So thank you.
Thank you, Marie. And I'll say this, because I have a platform to say, you know, the challenge of the ending. Reader, this is for you. I'm talking to you. Readers, I'm out there talking to you. It's really hard. This isn't an easy job. And, you know, if I wrote exactly what might happen in real life, you might be just bored. And so I have to stretch. I have to go all in and not worry that it's stretched this belief or it seemed outlandish. Crazy things happen all the time. And so I just can't hold back and create a very small story for the sake of absolute total believability of something that might happen in your neighborhood. Whatever I write could happen. It's possible. And that is the key. It doesn't have to be probable. It just has to be possible. I'll give you one quick example. I wrote in one of the medical suspense novels I did, called The First Family. I won't do spoilers, but there was an insane setup in that book that I thought, I don't know if I could write this, because it may just stretch my ability to believe. But I went with it, and published the book, and people really liked that story. And not 2 months after the book came out, somebody in New Jersey was arrested for the exact same thing that I wrote about. And let me just say, it involved drugs, assassinations, motorcycle gangs, and the medical profession. All of those things coming together, and it was a true story in New Jersey. So I go for it in these books. Sometimes they're pretty wild endings, but I think ultimately that's what the reader wants. And you have to avoid the giant info dump at the end, because that can be very overwhelming. And so it's a balancing act, Marie. And so I appreciate you acknowledging your enjoyment of the ending, and I'll work to keep the surprising endings coming.
Well, I absolutely thought it was so much fun. It was everything that it was billed for and then some.
Terrific.
So, Jamie, obviously you have tons of fans in each of the genres that you've written in. Where is the best place for new and existing fans to find out what you're up to and what's coming next?
Yeah. All right. I'm a little behind on my web presencing, but you can find me on Instagram. I'm looking up how to find me right now. I think I'm under, and I can't actually access Instagram because I have to shut it off on my phone, because I have an issue around always looking at my phone, and very distractible by nature. So I think it's Amy Day Books on Instagram. Just go there. Just like something there. Come hang out. And if you send a message or anything, it does reach me. I don't have layers of publicity. It just goes right to me and Kathleen. We look at that together. So
just real quick, any chance there's Monty pics that might show up on Instagram?
You know what? No Monty, but we do have Greta the Wonder Dog. So we have 3 dogs here.
Oh, that is Greta in the back?
No, you have not seen Greta. Greta is upstairs. She is our powerhouse Chiweenie, our bookish Chiweenie. And she does have glasses, and she also has little headphones because she is an audiobook fan. Although most of the stuff that she likes to listen to is just barking and howling, We haven't found a real, narrative that she's sunk her teeth into, or her little tiny little tiny molars into. But she is our bookish Chiweenie. So there is Greta on the Instagram page. So you should check that out.
Okay, so you have just derailed the next week of my life, because I will be obsessed with looking for pics of Greta.
You'll love Greta. We need more Greta. I need more bookish Chiweenie on the.
We do, and I cannot wait for more.
We have more coming, actually.
Oh.
A book, I guess I can tell you the title. It's called Beach Thriller, and it will be out next June. And I think it's super fun. I think people are going to love this book. I want to get the early buzz going for Beach Thriller as much as I want to support The Lake Escape. So
awesome. Well, perfect timing for that release. I think everybody knows what they're going to be doing 2026 summertime.
That's right. On the beach with Beach Thriller.
Absolutely. Again, the book is The Lake Escape by Jamie Day, an absolutely awesome read. You will not be disappointed.
Thank you, Marie. I really enjoyed spending time with you and talking books.
Likewise. Thank you, Jamie. And thank you all for joining us on this episode of Twisted Passages. We hope to see you next time.